Okay, so yesterday went out and caught some nice crappie and a couple of bluegill. And today we're going to show you how to clean a fish and how to fillet a fish. And the fillet meaning that it'll be boneless. But first let's show you how to clean one. This is sort of the traditional way people do it. You get the fish and you end up with all of the meat, but you have to deal with the bones after you cook it. While with the fillet, there will be no bones. And actually, they both take about the same length of time, or even the fillet might even be quicker, because you do not have to scale it unless you want to keep the skin on, which is another option. So let's first clean this crappie right here. And for that you need a little bit stiffer knife, because you're going to take off the head. We're going to cut from here behind these fins, then we're going to gut it, and we're going to take the spoon and we're going to scale it. And you do that on both sides, the scaling, and then you have a nice piece of fish that'll be ready to cook and eat. A fish that you have cleaned, but this, you gotta get through the spine, but there we go. So first take off the head, then just make a cut here. And I'm wearing fish cleaning gloves that actually have some metal infused in them so that you're less likely to cut yourself. And you want to get that, you'll rinse that out at the end to make sure there's really nothing in there. But that's, so we've cut off the head, we've got the guts out. That was quick. Now you got to do the scaling. Scaling is something I would recommend you do only outside, because the scales will fly everywhere. You just start at the tail, and you make sure you get that part, and you'll see that there, you can tell that where you've removed the scales, so you end up with the skin. And it doesn't take super long. I use a spoon, you can use a knife, you can use a scaler. The spoon just isn't sharp at all, so if you hit yourself with it, there's no way you can really hurt yourself. Unlike with a knife or a scaler. But there, I've scaled that side, and now and you sort of grab it there. Make sure you get up all the way up to the fins. You can see the scales going away, but you see how they fly around, which is why you again want to do this outdoors if at all possible. Otherwise you'll be finding scales all over your kitchen or wherever you do this. But that's it. I could give it a quick rinse, but this fish is ready to eat. You rinse it off, it's ready to bake, fry, whatever. The problem is at the end, you've got all the bones are in there. So some people like that. They don't waste any of the meat, and they just pull off the fins, the tail, and they pick through it, pull out the backbone, they debone the fish while they eat it, and they really enjoy that. So that is how to clean a fish. A crappie in this case, same with the bluegill, and a lot of other fish. Now, some people don't. They want to fillet it, but they want to keep the skin on it. So you would do what we just did and end up scaling the fish, and then you would fillet it. So this is the effort that's the most work, but you would end up with, and here I'm going to pull out the fillet knife, you're going to end up with a fillet that has the skin on it, and you just cut from the top with the tip of the knife down to here. You're following the backbone, you don't want to go under it. And on this side, you make an incision as low as you can with the tip of the knife, come down and meet that. So now that's all been done, and now you carefully just work the knife along, feeling the bones and trying to get as much of the meat as you can. because we did not leave much there. And there is a nice fillet, though typically there are a few pin bones right in here, so you would cut those out. And this is where I would take off the gloves in order to feel for the pin bones. But now you've ended up with a nice butterfly shape, sort of Y shape fillet with the skin. So that was the most amount of work. You don't have to dehead and gut it, but it makes it easier, and then scale it and then fillet it. But now I've got a nice fillet with the skin on. And if you'd like, you can cut this into a couple of pieces here and here and end up with that. So this is, I would give it a good rinsing, but that's ready to go. Again, if you wanted a fillet with the skin on. So I'll do the other side in a minute. Now I'm going to show you how to simply fillet the fish and remove the skin. But there's no scaling, there's no gutting. I keep the fillet knife now. I come here and I make the same cut, but I'm not going to cut off the head. I'm just going to cut in front of the fins, or behind the fins really. And I'm going to make a cut again with the tip of the knife across the top, above the top fins, and come here, and another incision here. Again, well, and now I can take this all off. You're going to hit the rib cage about in here, and you got to go kind of up and over it, and then back down to get at least some of the belly meat. And there you go. Now I've got the fillet. Now you say, well, yeah, but you still have the skin on with all the scales. But this is how you skin it. You hold the tip, you push in. Now you want a flexible knife, like this fillet knife, and you also want to go to the edge of the table so that you can keep the knife as flat as possible. And then move your finger up. Now I've got a good hold on the skin, and now I flex the knife and go through, and there is a beautiful fillet. No skin, no anything. Not a bone in it, provided we get the pin bones that are sometimes right in the middle, top middle there, right in here. Yep, there's a couple. So that's why you'll see people make this last little cut to get rid of those so that it's truly boneless, and it ends up in a nice butterfly shape, which is good for cooking. So that goes there. Take this off. Anything you don't like, you do a little surgery on it. You feel around any pin bones, anything like that. There's a few scales from doing the scaling before. If you're just filleting, you won't have that. And you give it a good rinsing, and you've got a beautiful fillet. No skin, no bones, and it was really quick to do that side of the fish. Now you flip the fish over, and you can do this barehanded. I don't have to have the gloves. Same thing, incision behind the fins here and here. Other incision just along the top with the tip of the knife. Then I come out and I try to catch some above the backbone, and then at the bottom, one more cut. So I'm not even worrying about gutting the fish, because I'm not gonna have that as an issue. I'm not keeping the whole fish. I'm just cutting out this fillet. And you work your way down. Now I hit the rib cage there. It is important to have a sharp knife here. I already sharpened this knife. I do it before every time I fillet something. And you work your way across and then back down as much as you can. I missed a little bit there, but that's, again, you're going to leave a small amount of meat behind. Not really very much. This is all bone. There's not much meat in there. So that's fully done. And now it's just left to skin it. Can you hold that down? You're going to flex the knife. Push down to try to keep the knife flat as you go along. Move your fingers up so you get a good grip. Right through. And there's the fillet. And that. Again, you can do a little final cosmetic surgery on the fillet, and then you feel with your fingers where any pin bones are almost always are right here, because I don't want any bones in this fillet. And then I can cut it, I rinse it real well, I can cut it into pieces, or you can leave it like this when you cook it. And there's just a few scales around, that's why you want to rinse it, get any of those off, you don't want those in there. But again, a perfectly boneless, beautiful crappie are some of the best eating fish, for sure. So that's how you do it. You do the exact same thing with the bluegill. I've got a couple of those in here. It's exactly the same. You'd cut behind this fin and this fin with the knife on the bottom, through the top, cut it off, and you're done. Finally here, I'm going to first clean a bluegill, and then I'm going to fillet a bluegill. This is cleaning. Bluegill head comes off. You need a fairly strong knife because you're going to hit the backbone there, and then you go through. Then you make a cut here. So the head's out, head's off, guts out. This goes very quickly, but so does fillet. And now we have to scale it again with the spoon. Bluegill scales are a little tougher to get off than a crappie, but it's not bad. It's nearly not bad. And you want to get all the way up here, get all this stuff. There's always a tendency for a few to hang on. You just keep going. Give it a good rinsing when you're all done. But we've almost finished. And this is, again, the way some people really like to have their fish. It's the whole fish without the head. And they cook it. You can fry it, you can bake it, and then at the end you debone it while you eat it. And you can see the color change. Where the scales are and where the scales have been removed. You can always get it on the top and the edges and things. That's where they'll hide. It's no fun to have scales in your feet. But I rinse that off and I'll have ready to go. That is ready for frying. Pull anything extra in there. When you rinse it, you should make sure you get the last of any of the insides. So that's a clean bluegill. Cut off its head, take out the guts, scale it. It's ready to go. Ready for the fryer. Now here's the other bluegill. Not a super big one, but I'm gonna fillet him. I'm just gonna fillet him. These were caught yesterday, and now they've been on ice overnight. So make a cut here, behind the fins, the front and bottom fin. Make an incision at the bottom, the tip of the knife. Get all the way down to the tail. And then on the top, same thing. Right next to the top fin, Just keep the knife basically flat to the table, and then turn it around and start your fillet. You're gonna hit again a rib cage. You can hear it as I hit it. You gotta go around that and back down. Pull, boom, and then skin it. You flick, push down the knife to get it to stay flat to the table. Hold on to the skin, boom. Look at that, no meat, just skin with all the scales is gone. This needs, again, everything needs a good rinsing before you put it in the freezer or keep it in the refrigerator before you cook it. And with the bluegills, pin bones are less of an issue, and I don't feel any, so that's done. There's a nice fillet, not a bone in it, nothing. So that's the difference. This is a clean bluegill, and there's another fillet on the other side of this bluegill, which we'll get. So this is a piece that's clean, ready to rock. This is one of 2 fillets that I'm going to get from the other bluegill. So at the end, we end up with a nice 12-inch plate. It was 7 fish, 5 crappie, and a pair of bluegills. End up with a nice big plate of completely boneless, perfect, ready to go on the grill. You can, as I said, you can cut them into smaller chunks if you'd like before you cook them. You can bake them however you like to do fish. Thanks a lot.